Pickens. We had breaking news in this program yesterday morning.
Remember,
Cowboys bringing in George Pickens on a trade to the Steelers for a 2026 third-round pick. Cowboys also sending a fifth-rounder and even getting a sixth-rounder in 2027. Pickens will be the number 2 receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb, bringing big playability, averaging more than 15 yards per reception last season in Pittsburgh. The updated playoff odds for both teams, the impact was noticeable. Pickens trade on ESPN Bet, creating slight movement in the market for both teams. Cowboys plus 200 odds to make the playoffs, still ranked third in the NFC East behind the Eagles and the Commanders. Pittsburgh also the third shortest odds in their division behind the Ravens and the Bengals. It's time for a little would you or wouldn't you with NFL analyst Damien Woody. It looks better today than when that photo was taken years ago. Damien, would you or wouldn't you buy the Cowboys as a playoff team right now?
Randy, I would. I think they made Jerry Jones made a bold move in addressing a major need for the Cowboys. Their number 2 wide receiver in George Pickens. And if you look at that duo in Dallas with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, that's a top 5 duo in the National Football League. With Dak coming back healthy, I think the offensive line is going to be better. The defense is going to be able to get after people. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to find themselves back in the playoffs in 2025.
Top 5 duo in the NFL. Okay, would you or wouldn't you then buy Dak Prescott having the best year of his career now that he has CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens to throw to?
Yeah, I'm going to say I would not, only because, new play caller. I don't want to take anything away from what Dak had with Mike McCarthy. Dak put up some huge numbers under head coach Mike McCarthy. So, I'm very excited about what George Pickens is going to look like opposite CeeDee Lamb, but I'm going to be a little bit hesitant until I see some of it in action.
Finally, the man that would have thrown, perhaps, to George Pickens. If you're Aaron Rodgers, would you or wouldn't you play for the Steelers after they traded Pickens away?
Heck no, I would not. You're already, this offense was already kind of questionable, but now you take away George Pickens off of that offense. We have major question marks about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm 42, I'm at the end of my career. I don't view the Pittsburgh Steelers as a viable team to come out of the AFC, so I would not.
DK Metcalf, though. DK Metcalf is still a number 1 in the wide receiver department. That's Damien Woody. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, D-Dub.
Thank you.
ESPN NFL analyst joins us here at Unsportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Damien, more memorable, the trade yesterday for George Pickens or your appearance at CC's charity event for the United Way of New York City a couple of nights ago?
I think my appearance, bro. I was looking good. Both my wife and I, we were looking good. So I would say my appearance.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a chance to meet the lovely Nicole, Damien Woody's better half. They were awesome representing. Yeah. I will say this. In a room full of stars, Damien Woody stands out as a star amongst stars.
Yes.
It was awesome. Big fella, I appreciate you coming through. You made the evening. Everybody was coming up and saying how excited they were that you were back at the Gridiron Gala, our 32nd Gridiron Gala. I don't think it's a coincidence that we raised the most money at that event in the history of the Gridiron Gala. And it was the first time that Damien Woody had been back in a long time.
Definitely not a coincidence. And also, I saw Damien and his wife's outfits on Instagram. He posted it. Damien, the Met Gala was on Monday, okay? You didn't have to bring out your finest couture for the Gridiron Gala. You guys were looking fresh.
Listen. I appreciate the compliment. I wouldn't go that far, but my better half. She definitely could have did the damn thing on at the Met Gala. So it was a great night for a great cause, and I appreciate CC giving me the invite to come out there.
Well, that's awesome to be invited by your teammate to his charity event. Still look, I don't see mine, but anyway, you personally invited him?
I personally invited him.
Were you invited?
No.
So he came through. Bart Scott came through.
But it's called the Gridiron Gala. We weren't on the Gridiron.
Devin McCourty came through.
We weren't on the Gridiron.
I didn't know you played football for one of the pro teams in New York.
You didn't know I played football?
I didn't know.
Damien, can you tell this guy, did I not play football? Am I not a football player, Damien Woody? All right, on that note.
Listen, if you got $3,000 for a ticket, you can come.
All right, I'm glad I wasn't invited. I'm glad I was not invited.
It is a fundraiser.
There you go.
Excellent to not be. You know what? I've never been so happy to not raise money at that point. All right, Damien. George Pickens traded to the Cowboys yesterday. The Cowboys have been teasing us. Something's coming. Something's coming. Well, it did happen yesterday. More important, Pickens going to the Cowboys or Pickens leaving the Steelers?
I think Pickens going to the Cowboys. Listen, I got to tip my cap to Jerry Jones for making this type of move. When was the last time Jerry was proactive in making a bold move like trading for George Pickens? We just haven't seen it. Jerry Jones has usually been a guy that's, you know what, I'm going to draft and develop our guys, and I'm going to pay our guys, which is fine. There's that's all fine and dandy. But when you talk about some of these other teams out here, and I'm not saying George Pickens is on this level, but, when the San Francisco 49ers trade for Christian McCaffrey and, those type of moves, since the message say we're about business. And we know that was a glaring need for the Dallas Cowboys. So I really got to tip my cap to Jerry Jones on that one.
Big fella, I got a question to ask you because you're always good at being able to read the tea leaves when it comes to these types of things. But color me skeptical when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers when they trade a wide receiver to another team. Because in 2018, the Steelers traded Martavis Bryant from behavioral issues. 2019, they traded Antonio Brown for behavioral issues. 2022, they traded malcontent Chase Claypool, behavioral issues. Deontay Johnson, malcontent, contractual issues in 2024. This year, they traded George Pickens. It never really works out for the team that trades for these wide receivers from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So why will this instance be any different than the others that we've seen over the last decade?
Well, Cece, I'm glad you brought that up because when the trade first happened, the first thing I thought about was, if Mike Tomlin's trading you away, there's got to be a red flag somewhere. Something's going awry behind the scenes, and so I get that point. I will say this though, a couple things. Number one, he's in a contract year, so if you're going to try to get someone on their best behavior, you're going to get their best in a contract year. There's no question about that. And then number two, George Pickens is going from just a bevy of quarterbacks to now Dak Prescott. You don't think he's happy about that after the subpar quarterback play that he's experienced with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this short career to now going to Dallas with one of the top quarterbacks that we have in our league? So, listen, I think, the questions are legitimate, but I think we're going to get the best of George Pickens in this situation.
Well, Damien, you talked about that bevy of quarterbacks in Pittsburgh, and we're wondering if Aaron Rodgers is going to be part of it. Was there any part of you when you saw the Steelers make this move with George Pickens that wondered how Aaron Rodgers could potentially factor into all of this?
I'm just like, why are we even talking about Aaron Rodgers anymore? If Aaron Rodgers was questionable,